Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
And a wonderful morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining me this morning for the theme, the Foreign Exchange Act. Is it tailor-made for mates or is it tailor-made for liberalization? To discuss that aspect with me this morning is Mr. Hemantha Warnakulasuriya. Jolly good morning to you, Mr. Warnakulasuriya.
Good morning, Faraz. Good morning.
You've been burning the midnight oil and reading up and looking at the impact of the new Foreign Exchange Act.
I did so.
And what is the most significant and striking part of this?
I believe
new act?
this is a deal with the IMF to liberalize our economy, liberalize our foreign exchange restrictions. And it was brought with noble intentions. But what has happened, that in the process, without the knowledge of anyone, and without the knowledge of even those hawks in the parliament, they have brought in legislation to exonerate one of their colleagues, against whom a case is still pending. Case could have been instituted in the High Court, where there is no escape. This case went on for 6 years, and what is important for us is to understand how our judicial system works.
Right.
That the most important Kumar Perov, someone who was giving evidence in that case, he was the main witness. He was officer of Central Bank. Now this clearly shows, among all these thieves and crooks, there are extremely honorable people in this country.
And professional.
Yeah.
Professional.
Yeah.
And professional.
Professionals. And then he was a government servant. He would have been under siege to change the evidence, and then he continued to give evidence. The team of Mr. Ravi Karunanayake questioned him for 68 days. From the very first day, judges changed, various other judges came on, and on the day he got into the box, till Mr. Karunanayake was discharged, he was still the witness. And what is important is his brother-in-law was employee of Mr. Karunanayake's Associates Bank, and pressure was brought upon him, and the witness changed the evidence. So we must, and he did not do that. So we must really appreciate the fact that we, among these thieves, in these dark clouds where there is some silver lining, there are some people like Mr. Dileepa Piris, who conducted the prosecution, who was relentlessly pursuing justice.
No, what you're saying, Mr. Warnakulasuriya, is that one of the effects of the new act, the Foreign Exchange Act, one of the effects is that it may work to completely acquit Mr. Karunanayake.
No,
the way I understand it, can you put me right?
Yeah.
That he was discharged, but the magistrate Irangani Pereira made provision for the AG to refile.
Now I want to ask you, Faraz, you and most of us, especially this media station, worked tirelessly to bring back this government and defeat that formidable giant, Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa. And what did we intend? We intended to have a good governance. And can you ever imagine, once you vote this government to power, you have a minister appointed by the Prime Minister as the Minister of Finance, against whom the sword of Damocles was hanging. And he was suspect. There was no investigation. The investigation concluded. The AG's department filed indictment against him, and he was there. No, but he was taken as the finance minister, and he is supposed to have violated the Exchange Control Act, which comes under him, the Exchange Control Department.
Isn't that I'm getting rather fed up when you hear these same things.
Yeah.
And my reason for getting fed up is that every time we look at something, any kind of controversy, it's always to do with a departure from procedure or process.
Yeah.
And in this case, the Prime Minister is a lawyer.
Yeah.
Surely he can examine matters and facts with cold neutrality, the cold neutrality of a judge.
Yeah.
And he could have saved all of us a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Example with this appointment of Arjuna Mahendran.
Yeah.
Although the son-in-law had resigned and the shareholding divested to another company, the fact is it wasn't done properly, and there was a conflict of interest, and today we have the bond.
Yeah.
So in the same way, could he not have looked at these things and said to Mr. Karunanayake, it is best if you first clear your name and then come along.
I will bring another example.
Yeah,
I will bring another example. I know. Now this is unbelievable. There was an accusation against Mr. Mangala Samaravira of financial impropriety, which I believe is absolutely false. I made that accusation. I openly apologized to him for making that accusation. I made that on instructions. Then when this accusation, I knew very well, a leading member of the executive committee, the UMP telephone told me, your accusation has gone very far, and leader has asked him to clear his name and come. And then later I found that all this is buzzed by some person who had some extra with Mr. Mangala Samaravira. I'm sorry for that accusation, but those are our instructions. Now that same Ranil Wickremesinghe, Mr. Clean, the man who has won the hearts and the minds of the middle class people, English speaking people, the elite of this country, and others and the minorities, they believed him. They voted for him because they want him to lead a government of anti-corruption, government who will not tolerate anybody, even his favorite. And we sometimes said he was a modern Lee Kuan Yew of this country. What happened? When this case was pending, it's a very serious matter. The man who gave the money was Raja Rajaratnam, a very well-known LTT terrorist who had been
accused of so being.
Accused of being, and there was accusation that he funded the LTT. Now this money was brought into the country without any permission of the central bank, and he invested huge sums of money. And then what happened? This case was filed, and all the pressure brought in on the Aegis department to drop these charges. Now, you must understand, for us, this happened during Mahinda Rajapaksa's time. It's a common trait. When you are in power, you accuse the members of the opposition.
It's a common trait only in Sri Lanka.
Only in Sri Lanka. Then what happened? This man becomes the Minister of Finance. We are all shocked. But all these organizations who, even I will say Reverend Madhura Shobit and others, never raised a whimper against Ravi Karunanayke's appointment. Never said anything.
Well, they might have, but they might have got shot down or reassured.
No, but then
they
could have come before the public and said, "Do not appoint this man. You're starting an extremely bad precedent. He's an accused in a case, indicted accused, and who could have gone to jail for 5 years." What happened now? This is a case I would like to show. This is a case I want to show to the.
And we'll look at the cameraman here and we'll show the. Show this.
Now.
Right.
Now
give that to me. Let me show that way. It's better on this camera here.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. Right. Now then, there it is. Right. That's what you're talking about.
Now this is an indictment I would like to read.
And that one there, so we can show everyone what we're talking about. All right. And thank you, cameraman.
Yeah.
And
now
here we
the
go.
case is case number HE 4648.
Yes.
And there were 3 accused. One is Messrs. Nexia Corporate Consultants, Mr. Lincoln Pearsena, 3 Ravi Karunanayake.
Right.
Now, on the last day on which this High Court judge, Mrs. Airangani Pera, was to retire, there was an objection taken by the team of Defence Counsel. Now, here, can you imagine 68 days they were cross-examine this witness. He was on the box. They took this objection saying that the date on the indictment and the date on which the money was received are two different dates, and some objects to that effect.
Yeah.
And the Mrs. Airangani Pereira, who was the High Court judge, decided to hold with the defense team. Now this happens in court. I mean, there is nothing strange. But Ms. Airangani Pereira was very careful. She said, I do not think if you proceed with this indictment, with this error, that I would come to a conclusion that the accused are guilty.
Right.
Therefore, I am discharging the accused. Now, there are two different discharges in the Criminal Procedure Code. One is called the discharge and one is called the acquittal. When you are discharged, there is a possibility that the charges could be brought in again. You are not exonerated. Discharge is still the
possibility remains of being charged.
Yeah, still the accusation remains. But if you are acquitted, then you are exonerated. You are a free man without any. Your all criminal records are expunged from the record. But then what happens? This happened on 18th of May 2015, just after this government came in, and from that day till 2017, the learned Attorney General who rushes into court to bring amendments, who rushes into court to file papers in court, remand people for more than 1 year, was silent, went into a deep slumber. And then there was an activist who went on his own. He was the only person who raised this matter.
Who was this?
Mr. Nagananda Kotisavakko.
Right.
He went to the Supreme Court and filed an action asking, obtain a direction to the Attorney General to indict him. When this case was
what happened?
When this case was pending, right, we have this Liberal Foreign Exchange Act.
Yeah. Right. The new Foreign Exchange
New Foreign Exchange Act.
New Foreign Exchange Act number 12 of 2017.
And then Section 30 of the Foreign Exchange Act has nothing to do with foreign exchange. It says,
go on, carry on. Yeah, go on, carry on.
The Exchange Control Act, Chapter 2.3 is hereby repealed. Notwithstanding the repeal of this aforesaid Act, all suits, actions and proceedings instituted on the repeal Act and pending on the day immediately prior to the appointed date shall, with effect from the appointed date, be deemed to be suits, actions, proceedings under the repeal Act and be heard and controlled under that Act. Now what happened? That all suits, actions and proceedings instituted. Now,
past tense.
Yeah, past tense. So now, if Ravi Karunanayake if the curse continued, the courts could have gone on with the case until the final conclusion. But he was discharged, and now there are no proceedings instituted in the court of law.
Yeah.
So therefore, it is very clear. In the guise of this liberalization of our economy, foreign exchange, this was brought in to support one person who has a criminal case against him. This is the first time I know legislation was brought in to cover a person who has a criminal record. The only other time in the world over, they bring legislation like that. They bring amnesty to clear the army. Now here, our army, who are liberated in motherland, there is no amnesty. No one has thought of bringing amnesty bill.
On that note, Mr. Warnakulasuriya, let's go for a short break and hear this message from somewhere. And don't go away, because this is, after all, Newsline.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline, where we're joined by Mr. Hemantha Warnakulasuriya. Let me just say that the questions are coming in thick and fast. And I'm just picking out things out here at random. TV1 is always spot on corruption. As much as your learned guest accuses the Parliament government and the new foreign exchange liberalisation will also help the family of former President MR for money laundering. Don't you think so?
Absolutely so. Absolutely so. Now, we do not know whether the truth or falsity of this case. If you remember, this government made a huge cry about Mahinda Rajapaksa having some $4 billion in a Dubai bank.
Indeed. And another question is, I try my best and rarely miss your program. You were to discuss a law passed by Parliament, which is what we're doing. All right. And we say here, we cannot expect a new political culture from any of the present leaders. We need to find an outsider. The media can conduct and run a national man-woman hunt for a suitable candidate. And the Foreign Exchange Act is tailor-made to safeguard the money stacked in foreign countries by politicians of all parties. Then there's another one here. It says, good morning. Another Parliament trick. Yesterday, Sujiva S. got as much. And but Hashna R. is evading. We know that he is. And so on. The list is endless. The people are actually very concerned. Mr. Warnakulasuriya, this Act, Section 2.2 of the new Act, seems to suggest that the minister in charge of the subject of the central bank, not necessarily the finance minister, not necessarily, is able to direct the monetary board of Sri Lanka, and in effect, the monetary board will be reduced to a mere rubber stamp, a self-inking one at that.
Yeah.
Isn't this bad? Because on the basis that the last government.
Do you expect a judiciary to be independent? Do you expect judiciary to be controlled by the Minister of Justice? Can the Minister of Justice give directions to the judges? Now this is something abhorrent and something which cannot be conceived by any reasonable, prudent man. But here, the monetary board, from the time of John Exeter from Mino, and up to the former governor, and even before that, right? There was no question of any politician, any minister dabbling with the affairs of the country's finances. Mm-hmm. That's a matter. Now we could see the Honorable Prime Minister came before the Parliament and said, we raised this money, 15 billion, he said, right, in order to pay the debts by the former government.
Yeah.
And therefore he wants 15 billion, and then it came to 1 billion, various things happened.
Yeah.
But then the entire his statement was contradiction and was a blatant false statement, because the Treasury officials came and gave evidence before the Commission and said they only wanted 1 billion.
Right.
So this whole thing, when you want to steal, when you want to do something improper, you impute, you make accusations against the former government and said you went all over the country, world, borrowed money, cheated the people, and now we have to pay for these debts, right? But then 1 billion was what this is for that week, and how did it become so large? Who gave instructions? Obviously the Prime Minister, who would have told now. Then when the Prime Minister did that, when the Prime Minister said that, he found that there is no provision for him to do that. It's a complete illegal act.
In very simple English, and leaving out your legal jargon and so on out, can you tell me and tell the viewers, very simply, what was Mr. Karunaka's offence? What was the offence? Why was he charged?
The offence that he was charged was under the Exchange Control Act, Section 7, I believe.
Yes, okay, that doesn't matter about the technicalities.
Section 7, Section 7 of the Exchange Control Act. Now this is where he has brought in money without the permission of the central bank and then deposited the money somewhere, right? And similarly,
Because he was holding it for somebody else.
yeah, he holding it for somebody. And similarly, his evidence that were revealed before the Bond Commission, the huge sums of money which he said was in the safe was transmitted by someone abroad. Now, the paradox is that the moment he said that, there was an investigation. There was an investigation in that country against him. But now there cannot be investigation. I do not know about liberalizing foreign exchange. Now, the most liberal country is Singapore, but I don't know whether even in that act or in any act there are no offences. Will you believe, my dear friends, that they have created this foreign exchange act, they have brought this parliament without a single offence? It is only in the foreign,
nothing specific.
yeah, in the Exchange Control Act, there are 37 offences where you can be charged before the magistrate's court and charged before the High Court, and your sentence will be minimum of 5 years. Now all the offences have been removed, and any person now say, for instance, now if you have gone to any other country, especially USA, you can carry only less than $20,000 in your purse. If you carry more than that, you must declare, and if you don't declare, the money is confiscated, you are taken to jail, taken to before a judge and remanded. But here, you bring $500,000, and if you get caught, there is not even power of seizure. The customs officers cannot seize that money. There is no power of confiscation.
So then what happens?
What happens? Your penalty will be. What is the penalty? Maximum 1 million.
1 million.
1 million. That was you are given the time to pay, and there you also can appeal. They will say, all right, penalty. They give us a small sheet, penalty 1 million, and then they will have to appeal to the board by under this act, and they will decide what to do.
So
what a sham this is. Can you ever imagine a man who is bringing money, and also similarly, if a man takes out money? Now there is whole number of agencies in Sri Lanka who dabbles in undial and various other matters where you exchange foreign exchange from Sri Lanka. Now millions of money, rupees will be sent out, dollars will be sent out, so that what happens for us, they don't have to resort to tawakkal, the undial. They will be in a position to undervoice the invoices and then cheat the customs, bring money and then bring goods here and sell it for a dirt cheap rate and at the expense of our revenue.
So Sri Lanka is only one step or so away, even half a step away from becoming the center of money laundering.
Yeah, this will be the center of money laundering, and then already people, you all do not know, in the internet, if you ask any person from the Narcotics Bureau, they'll affirm and confirm that we have become the hub of distribution of narcotics in the world. You will not believe. Now this huge amount of cocaine that was detected came with our tea, and then there are no claimant, and it is brought here to be exported as tea to various other countries. So therefore now it will become, but then there were still restrictions on the money laundering. But here with this act, even I'm thinking, now they were saying various things about billions of dollars in Dubai Bank.
That's right. Now, here's an appropriate question along with what you just said.
Yeah.
Why are no authorities asking Ravi K's companies how they kept 165 million in safe? I think what they're trying to say is that company connected to the Karunaker family.
Yeah.
Is this the same law practice? Is it one law for you and one law for me as in the public?
It's a very, very interesting question. When this is revealed, most of us who wanted to eradicate corruption was jubilant. We thought there's a massive disclosure that came to the light of the public.
Another question.
But now, you can't do anything because the Foreign Exchange Act has been repealed by this government.
But there is no, we don't know if that money was brought in from
So you must
overseas.
question them, no?
Yes.
So
yeah.
so they know under what provision at all I could question them.
I see.
So then also another important thing.
Somebody else is saying, were our parliamentarians asleep
I
when
do
they
not
passed
know.
this bill?
In fact, I asked my son-in-law.
Or are they all to benefit?
I asked my son-in-law. He also did not know.
There you go.
Because,
Why did you tell him off for not being there?
yeah, I said you should read this. You must. And
How
you know,
you told him off?
And the act was brought in with this question of liberalization of country's economy, which is a very
Somebody
noble
says
thing.
here, very appropriately, somebody says here, oh my God, are we now sitting on a volcano? And how are we to proceed in
I
terms
don't
of
know.
Foreign Exchange Act?
I believe the only one man in this country
Yes.
still who have not been shamed by the public for dishonesty. That is Mr. Maitripada Sirisena.
What can he do now?
Now
about
he
this?
as the president, he must summon all these people and discuss this matter and then even repeal this act or bring in amendments. But I mean, do you ever imagine, can you go to any country, even in Singapore, can you violate its laws? Can you violate? You can bring any amount of money, but then that must be declared, that must be deposited. Even if you don't declare, then you can be arrested, you will be questioned, you will be jailed. There are no offences, only penalties. Penalty the maximum penalty 1 million. There is no power of seizure, power of confiscation.
Hemantha Warnakulasuriya, thank you very much for bringing these vital points to the notice of the public and telling us about that. We need to. I want to end with a copy of an image of a book written by Sujiva Senasinghe, and here comes the image now, right? And I'm going to leave you with a question. Mr. Senasinghe says that he wrote this book after speaking extensively with Arjuna Aloysius and Arjuna Mahendran, and was trying to find out the items, the technicalities behind issuing a bond, insider trading, and so on, although we may point out that there is no such thing as insider trading when it comes to bonds in terms of the law. Now then, that book was published in 2015. So let me have that image again. That book was published in 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, our viewers, I'm going to leave you with this thought. The calls, the 62 calls, were made between Mr. Aloysius and Mr. Senasinghe when it was during the currency of COPE 2, of which Mr. Senasinghe was a member of. Somebody resigned, he was brought in. So those calls were made, 62 calls were made in 2016. I'll leave you with that note. Published in 2015, calls made in 2016. I'll leave you with that thought. And Hemantha Warnakulasuriya, thank you very much for lending us your expertise on that matter. And that's the way it is, or was even, on Thursday, the 23rd of November 2017. Take care and God bless.